Welcome back, everyone. We're going to jump right into our next session. I know a few people are still coming back from the break. And, well, it's with great pleasure that Joao and Mark and myself would like to introduce our incoming president to the International Diabetes, of the International Diabetes Federation. And Akhtar, please come join me here, who is going to spend some time with us very graciously to talk about his impressions of our program, but also the future years. And having worked with Akhtar these last few years, I know that he really looks to you, as we've said several times before, not only as the future, but for your current projects and as the now of what we can be doing to further the diabetes cause. And so it's with, without further ado, I introduce to you our incoming president, President Akhtar Hussain.
Hello. Dear friends, I can say that you will be much younger than me, but we can call them friends anyway. I think I have children of your age. I'm originally from Bangladesh. You can say that I'm from a poor country, Bangladesh. I migrated to Norway about 35 years back. So I live in a cold country. I was in the United States for some time. I came back. By profession, I'm a professor of I'm a diabetologist. By profession, I'm a professor of diabetes and metabolic disorder. I have worked in many parts of the world. I have worked in Africa, in Tanzania, Zimbabwe, and I have worked in South America, in Saka, in Brazil, so I have a guest professorship. I work there. My wife is actually a Brazilian, and I have worked in, I'm from Bangladesh, but I worked many countries in Asia, in Europe. I'm based in Norway, but I've worked in Sweden, Germany, Italy. So you can say that I have the experience of, if I have any knowledge, that is to see different culture, to see different people, and to see that how the care for the people with diabetes is different in the real world, from the rich country to the poor country. Young leaders are very important tool to help people with diabetes. To train and groom the next leaders is very, very important. And during my tenure as a president, I can assure you that I will give you the fullest support that I can give. We will have to, that all the work that has been done with Kyle, Mark, and Joao, and I have served with Joao not only this term, this last 3 years, but I have also served with him as in the IDF board previously. I know all of them very well. Mark is from Brazil, so that adds to that I'm half Brazilian, I call. So then we'll keep in touch, and you have a very good friend, and Kyle has always talked so warmly and so engaged, that is so inspiring for the cause, for the young leaders. What I think is important, that in the young leaders, that we should, diabetes is one community. That is very important to remember. The diabetes is one community. Whether you are type 1 or type 2, doesn't matter. It's a medical diagnosis. We share the same fate. And therefore, we should not make distinctions between type 1 or type 2. We are one community, no matter whether you are type 1 or type 2, or you are a woman, irrespective of your gender or nationality or race or religion. We have one community, and that is the people with diabetes. So YLD, I hope that will also be built in the same principle. Because one thing we must remember, that even though we said that diabetes is increasing, we are talking about 10 to 12% of the people globally have diabetes. That means about 90%, 88 to 90% people do not have diabetes. So if the people with diabetes cannot connect with the rest of the 90% of the people with diabetes. Our cause for the people with diabetes will be lost. So it's very important for us that we fight for the people with diabetes in connection with the rest of the society. If we split type 1 and type 2, we will be weakened. We will not be strengthened. So I think that this is something that we must remember to build YLD. And I can assure you one more time that I will give you the fullest support to see that how we can strengthen, how we can build, how we can have added programs on YLD. Thank you.
Thank you, Akhtar. I would love to go straight, if you have a few more minutes, I would love to go straight to the room and see if you have any questions for our incoming president. This is the opportunity. Please don't be shy. Bosnia. And maybe say where you're from, your name and where you're from, please.
So, hi, my name is Leila. I come from Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is a small low-income country in Europe. And my question would be, because you do see the difference between high and low-income countries, how would you say could the IDF help facilitate a communication between high and low-income countries where countries with more resources would in some way support countries with lower resources? So because we know we can't implement the same strategies because the system doesn't work the same. So do you plan to help low-income countries adopt the way to go forward from high-income countries so we can maybe achieve similar results and, push certain initiatives forward? Thank you.
Thank you.
This one's not on. Maybe try this one.
Okay. Thank you very much for your question. And actually, this is something that I have addressed yesterday in our General Assembly. As I said, that the diabetes is one community. So the people that we have, for example, IDF have 7 regions. We have some strong regions, we have some weaker regions. For example, you say IDF Europe traditionally is the strongest unit of IDF. But the reason that if I say that I'm strong, so therefore I will have the biggest influence on IDF. That is not the spirit that you come to join the IDF. But if you use the platform of IDF to unite the 240 member associations and see as brothers and sisters, if I have more, because I'm strong, I have more resources, how I can help my poor brothers and sisters in Africa, in Asia. And that spirit, often I say, is not there. That they are saying that we are the strongest, we have more member association, we should have more voting rights. That's what people are asking for. But I think this spirit that you said that is very important. IDF can lay down the platform. IDF can give the contacts. I have always asked, develop some projects. The IDF Europe can develop some projects together with IDF Africa. Why IDF Europe should have to projects only for IDF? Because you have many sources that you can get your funding from. But in Africa, they don't have this kind of scopes. So develop some programs together with Africa, develop some programs together with Asia, and that is the spirit that we should use IDF for. I hope that we will be able to talk more on this issue, and I have already addressed this issue in the General Assembly yesterday.
Hi, I'm Ricardo from Portugal. Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to have you. So we saw the presentation about IDF. We saw that you're present in 170 countries with 240 associations. So the first question would be, does IDF also promote intra-country collaboration? So I'm guessing from the numbers that each country might have more than one member. So the question is, if you do promote this cooperation, and if it's harder to get this intra-cooperation, or if it's harder to get the inter-region cooperation that you just mentioned. Thank you.
I think that, yes, thank you again for this question. I think that you should use it because IDF have some programs that it includes the global communities. We are inviting people. For example, right now I come from a meeting with the guidelines. This year, what I have done in the guideline committees, traditionally there are some international experts who sit down and develop the guidelines. I said that no, we have to include 7 members from 7 regions of the IDF, so that we have kind of fresh knowledge from what happens on the ground, because we develop something which is academically the best evidence that we have, but what is it when we're going to implement? Is it feasible that we will be implementing this? Why? So therefore, I think that we have some global program that IDF is including members, but I think you can also seek IDF office that I have this idea. Can you find a partner from Africa? We'll do that. So be active, not waiting to see that IDF will come back to say that, okay, you do, we have a project, can you come and join from this part to this? You can develop your idea and come back that I need partners. And so I'm not saying that IDF should not do it, but I said that you can also be a little proactive, ask the questions, that because we have limited capacities, we have to say. At the moment that we have less than, I think we have about 16 or 17 people working in the IDF office. We all are volunteers. So we all, the people that you see here, we are all volunteers. So we don't get anything paid from the IDF. We have to work somewhere else in order to pay our bills. That's the reality. So given this scope, so we cannot sit down, we cannot use 24 hours of our time to see that, for example, which country could come in. Please come up with the ideas, and I assure you that I will facilitate with all the information.
There is one more question.
Hello, my name is Raya. I'm from Lebanon, and I would just like to build up on the question that Leila just asked, and something I've been seeing a lot. While there are many people and countries with extremely good intentions that are trying to implement projects in low-income countries, but the main problem that you always see, and let's face it, there's politics in everything. And for example, like right now, we don't have enough diabetes supplies. A lot of projects are coming with good intentions to give, but due to the politics of the country and the fact that not all of the politicians and everyone there is able to unite under one umbrella and under one cause, the result of the project with good intentions is still people with no diabetes supplies. Nothing gets to the patients. And while people say we're working on this project, but it always ends up in a failure. So how is there like a leeway that is being worked on right now to fix this issue of politics and problems?
Thank you. This is an issue that is very, very important, of course, and is the challenges of implementing the policies at a national level, in short, and there is, as you said, the politics comes in. We are facing difficulties in order to motivate the political leaders. What the political leaders want, they want your vote. And so they want to see that what is the popular items, they can give you a kind of quick response before the election. If you say that you will see the results in 3 years' time, in 5 years, they are not interested. They say election is in 2 years' time, what we can show to the voters. So that's what they are interested in. I have presented yesterday my vision that we need to work closely with the national governments, because at the end of the day, we implement our policies at a national level. Diabetes is a problem at a national level. It's not a problem of the pharmaceutical industries, to say it very bluntly. People with diabetes is actually a resource for the industries. So therefore, we need to collaborate with them. So first, what I have identified, in order to be able to close collaboration, they do not read scientific articles that we publish. They read barely newspapers. So how we can, so my view is to recognize their activities in order to make them interested in this topic. So I, together with my last board, we proposed, with Kyle was there, we all, Mark and we all were there, that we proposed that we should go through the work of each country, and we should nominate one head of the state as the global ambassador for diabetes, which we did. The Prime Minister of Bangladesh was given the award yesterday, probably many of you have seen. This is the step that we are encouraging the governments. You have seen the Prime Minister's commitment. Now this is videoed, and we can always refer it to them. And she has promised that she has already doing the distributing free insulin to all people with diabetes. I have received an information, received a letter today from one, I will not mention the country, from one country from Africa. The president promised that he will give free insulin to all people with diabetes. Plus, he is interested to establish one insulin industry for Africa. And he will sell the industry without any profit, non-profit, at cost level. So we see that by recognizing them, we can get them engaged. But without recognition, we say that you are not doing it, you should do it, they don't do it. So we have to think differently. And I think that it is very important that unless we get the local governments involved, we cannot implement our policies. Thank you.
I think we have one more question. Tino, yeah, for the last
Last
question.
one.
So thank you so much, Mr. President, for being here. First things first, thank you for initiating the call that IDF is running right now to help influence the ministers from our countries. And the second thing, thank you also for having to recognize somebody to be an ambassador, a global ambassador. And I think maybe it will serve as a motivation to the people that are hearing these stories. So my question is, now given that you said we have over 240, not over, but 240 associations that are members of IDF. So, and with this thing that I'm wearing, and I believe everybody else is wearing it too, it says Unite for Diabetes. So maybe, I don't know if it's a question or if it's a plea from us. We would want maybe a situation where all the associations within a country, they unite, not for us to fight for resources. So I think maybe if the IDF can help us to say all the associations within a country, they should work together, not being divided, and also looking for resources from the IDF individually. That does not work. We believe we can achieve something if we are united. I mean, that's the core that we should always be talking about. So I don't know how you can, but I believe maybe you can.
Thank you. The question that you are raising is a fundamental issue. That's why we create associations. Are we creating associations in order to serve the people with diabetes, or to make myself the president of one organization so that I can present myself to the ministers of this and that? You see this problem at every stages. We see that, for example, if you see the international cooperation between the governments is very poor. We have, this morning I was discussing with the American Diabetes Associations, ADA. I was saying that we have the one same mission. Why we are not working together? They are our members. They are ADA and ESD are the member of the IDF. Why we are not working together? You see that this is something that I have also discussed about in terms of discrimination. That if we have to fight against discrimination for people with diabetes, we must think that what are the prejudices that we ourselves have. Do you think that all the associations that we see, they don't have any prejudices? So when they themselves they discriminate, how do you think they will fight against other forms of discrimination? It's a long debate, and and as you can understand that living almost 35 years in a European country with my skin, and if you say that I have not faced discrimination, that's not correct. But if I say that I have not seen any good people, that is not correct either. So we have elements, positive elements and the negative elements. But we need to think ourselves that I have asked myself, am I free from all prejudices? If we ask to ourselves, all of us. So we need to start from there, and then you can ask that why can we work when we set a kind of organization like IDF? Are we working objectively without our self-interest? As long as self-interest is there, unfortunately, we'll not be able to cooperate. And this is something that we need to be, I think have conflict is very human, but to go beyond that is what we hope for. Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Akhtar. I think we may request an extra minute, if I understand correctly, to do a picture while you're with us, with our group. But I hope that all of you recognize this is our president, this is our leader. This is an important program for IDF. That's why he's spending time here, and your voices are important to us. We have 3 members of the youth working group. With President Akhtar's help, we now have a standing youth committee. One of the core projects for the youth committee will be the Young Leaders with Diabetes program at the board level for IDF. So this is very important to us. Thanks to Akhtar for helping cement that for the future as a priority project for IDF. Let's thank him again for his time and take a picture all together.